All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. I'm just moving around here a little bit. Okay. We've got a lot of things to talk about here today. A couple of preliminary things we're going to look at, but welcome back. We had a few hundred people who signed up for today. So I'm getting the feeling that the recordings are getting to be more and more popular, okay? Which is fine. I mean, how many people have things that happen that just mess up your whole day? Okay, there we go. So, all right, now we've got a couple of things to take care of here. First of all, you can always communicate by opening up your mic. You know, that's a great way to communicate. It's like we're together. And honestly, we're here for a couple things. All right. Some of you do belong to the Master HR Toolkit. Okay. Well, this is designed to show you how to use it, where stuff is, but it's also designed for people who don't have the Master HR Toolkit. It is designed for people to know what to go where. Okay, and I'll tell you, we started with the leave of absence policies, okay, and we're going to keep moving through until we get through a lot of different HR topics. Okay, so I'll tell you, people that hear this recording or that are here live, anytime you want to shoot me an email, say, hey, I was in the Lunch and Learns. Have you thought about doing something about this? Have you thought about doing something about that? All right, and these ideas that I'm working with today, these come directly from the community action folks. And so everybody's input is welcome. We're always going to have something fun to talk about when it comes to human resources. Okay, now last time we were talking about where our education is being derailed. I mean, I'll tell you, I've been in human resources for 41 years. I've been a practicing employment attorney for 28 years. And I'm here to tell you, it is sometimes like dealing with organizations or dealing with HR associations. Some are just drive me crazy. Okay. And we talked about this, that let's just do a good one here. So you can either chat me up, and I'm going to look over here because I can see my other screen over here, or give me your emoji. You know, you can give me a thumbs up, thumb down. How many people think that you should not go to any meeting and be told how to do illegal things? Let me raise my hand. I don't think you should be told what to do that's illegal. I'm getting genies, rubies. I'm getting lots of hands up. Okay, very good, very good. So no, we should not be, yep, still counting them up here. Okay, and we got a great question last week from, I think it was Latoya, and because we were talking about DE&I. Okay, well, I just posted on my Lunch and Learns an excerpt from a session that I did on understanding the Harvard case for DE&I. Okay, now the Harvard case we talked about last time applies to universities, but it's gotten everyone's antennas up all over the place. All over the place. And what's that mean? The commissioner of the EEOC came out and said, if you use a protected class factor as any factor in hiring somebody, promoting somebody, or anything like this, wages, raises, special mentor programs, things like this, that's illegal. That is illegal. Okay, so like setting up mentor programs, you should set those up for everybody, right? And for recruiting. And we got a great question here. It's like for recruiting. So when we're hiring somebody, we can't use race as a factor. And the answer to that is no. That is blatantly illegal. And with the political climate today, everybody's antennas are up. You will probably get caught and you will lose. So what is the answer? Increase your applicant pool. Specifically go out and find people of minority status to put into that pool. Then you will have qualified candidates. And I got this email from Mike Gerzeni. Thank you, Mike. www.circaworks.com. He has found this to be extremely helpful. Okay, and I will tell you point blank, my former HR chapter is teaching you how to get fired, teaching you illegal tactics, and drives me crazy. Just drives me crazy. Okay, so write this down, circaworks.com, go check it out. And start contacting the historically Black colleges, the Latino communities, and Asian communities, and LGBTQ communities, so that you've got this broad applicant pool. That's what we want. Now, I'll tell you, artificial intelligence is on the move. If you are not familiar with this, you are behind the ball. You've absolutely positively got to get on board with this. And this is the chapter I've joined, South Central Ohio Human Resource Council. I'll tell you, I travel an hour one way because I think the programming is so good. The people are wonderful. And here they're going to have Scotch Purdue next Thursday, March 21st, from 11:30 to 1 in the PACCAR Medical Building, which is Adena Health Systems, right there on 23. They call it 44-6 Hospital Road down there, but that's right on 23. Beautiful facility. I will tell you right now, this is a chapter to take a serious look at. And if you want to learn about AI, I want to see you there. I want to see you there. We've got to support the good chapters who are going to tell us what we need to know. And when you walk out of your meeting, you've got something to use. And I'll tell you right now, if I can walk out of a meeting with one thing that I can use, boy, that's worth it. That's great. And that has not been happening with a lot of other associations and chapters. Okay, so that's me. It's really funny. I got several calls this last week wanting to know if I still practice employment law. Yeah, I do. Okay. Yes, I do. Okay. Several of my clients are right here on this call with us because we're always trying to learn more stuff. And it's kind of funny because do you do HR? And I'm like, yeah, you can do both. Okay. So several of you, I'm going to be presenting for you folks. So yeah, I am not retired. It's funny. I do all kinds of different trainings and work with companies on their employment law issues, contracts, and all this stuff. And actually, this is how I got the Master HR Toolkit. I got somebody who was sitting there one day and says, well, I could just call you for advice if I need it, but if I had your forms, I don't need you. And I said, that's right. So that's how the Master HR Toolkit was born. So check out my website, questions, give me a call. And we got some fun stuff coming up here. All right. So I want you to go look at the upcoming sessions on my website. Okay, I just finished What the Heck Happened. That's all done. Won't be doing that one again. So I put it out there on recording. All right, it's all recorded live and all 13 documents are there. But we're going to look at the National Labor Relations Act, March 22nd. That's a week from today. Let me tell you, if you have not updated your handbook and you are in the private sector, if you have not done that since August, it's illegal. It's illegal. It is illegal. And yes, I got a client that we had someone out there. Now, here's a good question. How many people you have an employee who is out there complaining about the company or a manager? How many we got out there? Got anybody? Oh boy, look at the hands just all piling up there. Yeah, okay, yeah. You can't fire them for that. Actually, they are allowed to cuss you out and use the most foul languages. Okay. Oh, it is a whole new world, folks. Your contracts have changed. Your handbook has changed. Everything has changed. So that's what we're going to do next week. And we're going to spend a full half day on it. All right. And of course, here's what we've got on the agenda for April for our upcoming Lunch and Learns. And these are all free. And I'll tell you, I'm open to suggestions moving into May, June, July, and everything. Oh no, it's wage and hour. How do the administrative, executive, and professional exemption tests work? Oh, I'll tell you. When speaking, okay, I got a question here. Ooh, what happened there?
Hi, Scott.
Yes, yes.
So employees can behave that way when they're talking about terms and conditions of employment.
Yes, yes.
Cursing you out just because they want to curse you out is a little broader. But when they're talking about terms and conditions of employment, that's kind of when they can act out of order, so to speak. So I just want to add that qualifier, if you don't mind.
Well, let's look at that. Chances are they are going to complain about you. Okay, so Facebook, perfect example. We got a lot of Facebook comments out there. And actually, I'll just tip my hand. One case we're going to look at is a waiter was really upset because his supervisor he was mean to me. He was mean to me. Okay, so what did he do? He went home and put on Facebook that I hate my effing manager, effing effer, and his whole effing family. The NLRB upheld that because you were mean to him, whatever that means, and so you asked for it. So now, how did that come about? They fired him. That's illegal. So, Imogene, what a great example, because it's a whole new world. Yeah. Now, I come from a time when you drop the F-bomb, and how do we know that's the worst one? Because you don't say it. Okay. And he also called him an asshole, which asshole looks pretty good when you're surrounding it with F-bombs. Okay. You see what I'm saying? I'll tell you, do your supervisors ever swear at your employees? Oh, yes. The current NLRB is the most extreme support of unions and unions' rights in over 60 years. Yes. You have never seen anything. I'll tell you, this is a big one. You really want to be there for this. And if you miss it, then I will send you the recording. And again, this one's $125. That one is for a fee. And then understanding Ohio's new marijuana law, we're going to spend. Oh no, I'm sorry, for the paid lunch and learn. That's a half a day. But then we're going to look at Ohio's marijuana law and your policy, what you need to be putting in your policy, and what exactly that is in April. So great comments there. So we got a lot of stuff to look at, and I'm open to new ideas. Okay. And the end of this month, just bringing out to everybody, Master Toolkit, which is what we're looking at today. The Stop Bullying and Harassment video is on sale, and the Supervisory Master Training series, that series is on sale. Those are 10 courses, an hour and a half each. Okay. All right. So we've got all kinds of new stuff to look at here. Let me stop the share and let's get back to our share here. Any questions before we get started with today's topic? All right. FMLA, forms, policies, all that fun stuff. Okay. Now, first and foremost, for those of you who do have the Master Toolkit, you log in. Pretty simple stuff. Mine's all preloaded, which I like because I'm lazy. And I'm going to hit that right there. All right, so it's going to take me to my account. I'm going to hit downloads. And of course, I've loaded up my arsenal. I've got everything that I use here. So I'm going to go to the Master Toolkit subscription. And I call it a subscription because I'm always updating it. Okay, now, give you a good example from an update. People who attended last week. Oh, and the video is posted under the Lunch and Learns. It is up there. It takes me about a week to get it all cleaned up, sent to my web person, and then load it. So just check it like clockwork. Okay. Now remember last week we talked about using the employee return to work form and using the information in there for work restrictions. Well, I thought that's kind of confusing, so I made you a new form. This is brand new. Okay, your letterhead goes up there. Additional information for work restrictions. Okay, so you got somebody here that, they broke their leg, they did whatever, but let's say you think that they're stretching it. Let's say that you think they are faking, okay, that they're trying to milk it. for more than it really is. Okay. Honestly, that's why we use this a lot. So, you got to get these completed forms to us, blah, blah, blah. I just changed the language. Okay. Essential job requirements checklist. Please indicate yes if the employee can perform each essential function, or no if she can't. Okay, now you see how simple this is. Oh, if they need any reasonable accommodations to perform these functions, please list those accommodations at the end of the form. Now, I took this from the job description. Okay, and so can everybody see the essential functions that I've got in front of them right now? I'm screen sharing that. Can you see that? No? Oh, okay, something's wrong there then. Okay. Oh, great. Okay.
We see the page that has all of the links.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to close out of that then because, oh, wait a minute. I see. I got to do something else here for, okay. Just, dealing with, there we go. Just dealing with Zoom. There you go. Got to change my share. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you. Thanks for the heads up. Okay, everything's a learning process, isn't it? So, okay. So here you see additional information for your work restrictions. Okay, just all this stuff. Hey, how do we best accommodate your condition? Blah, blah, blah. We have to have this form completed to us no later than, and you put that 15-day plus thing in there. We will not be able to accommodate your position until we receive this information, blah, blah, blah. Essential job requirements. Okay. Indicate whether, yes, they can perform this job or no, they can't. Okay, if they'll need any reasonable accommodations, let me know. But you see, I've just cut and pasted this type of stuff directly from their job description. Okay, and this is a guy who was morbidly overweight, but he had to be there on the shift on the job site for 12 hours a day. He had to be on call. Had to manage this caseload, had to drive to Columbus. We also want to know how long can you sit, stand, blah, blah, blah. I've used this quite a bit. Now you can add these into the form we looked at last week, but you don't have to. Okay, and here I ask another question. Will the employer require any reasonable accommodations? If so, please be specific and state for what period of time. Make sense? Okay, so I just put that one up there so that everybody could, use that and at least get the idea. You kind of see, if you don't have this form, then it's no big deal. You just go and you list all those yes, no, or whatever for that person. Okay, makes sense? And this is going to be important for the FMLA. And let me tip my hand why restrictions are important. You are perfectly within your rights to temporarily transfer an employee on FMLA leave. Okay, now they're missing a lot of work or something like this. They're late to work. And let's say that it is an essential function that they're on time. Like maybe they're on an assembly line. Like maybe they're the receptionist or they're on a customer service line or something, whatever. All right, I can't make it into work for this period of time. Okay, then guess what? We might need to transfer you. Okay, so that's why those essential functions are important. They turn down like a light duty or a job transition type thing or whatever, then guess what? They're not going to be eligible for any short-term disability. Okay, so where else can you look for answers? Well, go down here to the book. Okay, Family Medical Leave Act book. Okay, this is a monster. All right, so that's why Bill Gates created tabbing. All right, so you see all the different things here. I'm looking for an answer. Right now, I'm looking for what sort of documents do I need to comply? All right, so you just kind of page down here a little bit. What do I need to do? Employee benefits. Oh, there we go. Employer notice requirements. FMLA notices. I click on it, and just like magic, there it is. Takes me right to page 43. Talks about all those FMLA forms that you got to have in your quiver ready to go. Make sense? Okay. Can everybody see that or not? Here, let me make sure that you can see it, because that's a Word document, so I don't know if... Doink.
We could see it, we can't now.
Okay, can you see it now? Okay.
Yes.
Good. Okay, yeah. Very good. Yeah, that okay, so now we know that a PDF form works. Okay. Now, how many people you don't like to read? Readings work. I'm allergic to reading. Okay, getting all kinds of hands up on this one. I tell you, I read so much it puts me to sleep. I'm allergic to it. So let me show you something that almost literally gave me a hernia. Okay, so that we're not talking about ADA so much today. These are videos. So I want to go down here and I want to be read to. I would like to have my own little tutorial. Okay, go down here to the FMLA video. And so what do I want to do? FMLA employer notice requirements. Okay, there we go. And what Ohio Bell is saying is, there we go. Let me just backload it. So all the employer requirements, eligibility notice. This is an hour long. There's a lot. And you can go and listen to it. Make sense? Questions, comments? Because now we're going to go back up here and we're going to look at the individual forms that you've got to have ready. So take a breath for any questions or anything. Is everybody getting her? I hope it's pretty easy to navigate. Okay. Now, you got somebody who broke their leg. So right away, we're going to use this form up here, aren't we? ADA, FMLA, etc. And you remember this from last week, right? So there you go. Okay. Now this is going to be ADA and FMLA. Okay. Because they're both in play. All right. Now, you still have the FMLA. Now understand, I got a case that I'm taking for a firefighter. I just can't believe it. That they actually wrote this guy up for getting injured on the job and not complying with workers' comp. Well, I think that's debatable. I think he did comply with workers' comp, but they have violated the FMLA all over the place. Okay, so don't forget, if somebody gets injured on the job, like a concussion or a serious shoulder injury or God knows what, well, you got the trifecta. You got workers' comp. You might have FMLA. And you will probably have ADA. Okay? So let's go down here first and foremost. Okay, let's here. Okay. All right. Now, right, HIPAA permission to release medical information form. Okay. Every so often, and I understand that is a Word document, so I have to go down here and stop share and start share again. It's not like as if they're going to make it easy for you, are they? Okay, there we go. Okay, your letterhead goes there. Everybody see this all right? Cool, cool. Okay, so HIPAA. Now, understand, I really shouldn't have to send this letter, but has anybody ever had some complaints from an employee or a doctor's or healthcare provider refuse to release information to you because it's HIPAA? You ever have that one? Because I had it last week. Okay, now, this is intended to be a little intimidating. Because first of all, they don't know what in the heck they're talking about. Here's what I like to do. Give the document to the employee, the medical certification forms and all that stuff. The employee gives it to the medical provider. The medical provider gives it back to the employee. The employee gives it to you. Guess what? It's not HIPAA. It's not HIPAA. Why? Because the employee didn't have to give it to you. HIPAA only exists when you get information directly from an insurance company, a third-party administrator, or a doctor, healthcare provider, insurance company, and TPA. Okay, so you got a difficult employee. You got a difficult doctor. Go on down through here, and I just put some citations in here under the regulations. And if an employee's serious health condition may also be a disability within the meaning of the ADA, you got to give it to us. Okay, and there's other sections in here. We are perfectly allowed to get clarification and authentication through a healthcare provider, any management official, any leave administrator. The employees have to turn that over or you lose your rights. Okay, while an employee is not required to permit this information be released, this is the big one. I put it all in bold. I should have put it in red maybe. The employer may deny the designation of leave. Okay, so yeah, you don't have to give this to me if you don't want to, but guess what? You just lost all your rights. And then of course, you put the employee's name in there, you know, who the provider is, okay? Is this for a dependent? Because it could be for their child. Maybe you want some information. Now, what are you looking for? Are you looking for the entire record? Are you looking for just a period of time? Only information relating to their need or whatever, okay? I've never had to check the entire record, okay? So you just kind of look down through here. It's pretty self-explanatory, okay? That everyone is released from liability. You know, you can restrict the information that you're releasing. Okay. Everybody with me? Pretty simple stuff. And all I did was I took the standard FML or HIPAA release form and edited it. Okay. Is everybody with me there? Okay, that's what this is designed to do. Now, some of you have the master toolkit. Some of you have this in your folders already on your computer. Potato, potato. More power to you. Okay, so let's go through the different FMLA forms. Okay, so what are we looking at here? So this one is the standard form. You should have this in your folder ready to go. Okay, and you'll recognize this from the federal government. Okay, it talks about who's covered by the FMLA, and you're going to indicate on here who needs the leave. Who needs it? And again, you're just determining with this first part here, eligibility. Okay, like, do they work within, 75 miles of 50 or more employees? Okay, have they worked the requisite number of hours? Are they eligible? That's it. So just understand, this is just a small piece of what you're going to be looking at later. So make sense? Are you eligible? That's what all of this. Or if you're not eligible, you got to tell them why. All right. Additional information. Okay. And again, I put this in red. If complete and sufficient information is not provided in a timely manner, you may lose your FMLA protections. And what's a timely manner? You got 15 days. Now, you and I know we say 15 days, but they always get a little more than that. Okay. All right. Everybody with me? All right. Now, this is a good one down here. Notice of rights and responsibilities. Okay. So you're going to tell them what their rights are, but you're going to tell them what their responsibilities are. And I always attach a copy of the policy, which is why we're going to look at the policy. All right, because with a policy, you're not really telling people what your rights are. You're telling them what rights you, the employer, are receiving or reserving for yourself. Do they have to call off? Yes. Who do they have to call off to? Okay, now let me give you an example of a case that came up. Years ago, you had a guy at Honda in Marysville, Ohio, who was calling off from work. All right, well, he was calling off from work, and he called off to the guard shack. Okay, now, what do you think? What are the chances the guy at the guard shack, the guard, is going to let the supervisor know that this guy's calling? What do you think? What are the chances that that message is going to get, yeah, Sheila, 0? Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. No, he isn't. No, he isn't. Okay. So that's exactly the problem. So what happens? Well, no notice is given, and Honda disciplines the guy. He gets his job back. Okay. No discipline. Why? Because there was nothing in the FMLA that said they had to follow your call-off procedures. There is now. So you kind of see how this form is going to work in tandem with your policy. Okay, so it tells them you get up to 26 weeks off. Okay, that's for their rights. Do you follow a calendar, fixed year, rolling year? What do you follow? Okay, is this a key employee? I've never seen that enforced. A key employee, that's if they make in the top 10% of the people who work for you, they are not required. You don't have to hold their job for them. But I've never seen that happen because the top 10% key people are the ones who are running the place. Believe me, you're going to hold their job for that. Okay. You have not. We have not determined that restoring you to the employment at the conclusion will cause substantial grievous economic harm. Okay. Now, you probably will put you have determined or you have not, one of those two. Chances are they're going to get their job back. Now, understand what I'm saying. This is one of those differences between the ADA and FMLA. Something equivalent is good under the FMLA. That's fine. Like, let's say you've got a location that this person works at, but you need to keep this operation running. And so you transfer them when they come back to a location 5 miles away. Well, that's not a big deal. 5 miles away, that's going to be fine. You can't transfer them to someplace 50 miles away. Okay, no. Okay, so a lot of little things in there. And you kind of see how the book and the video and all this work in tandem with each other. Plus, that's one reason we're doing these. Okay, substitution of leave. Okay, if you are taking sick time in conjunction with FMLA, because remember, FMLA is not paid. You want them to run concurrently. And that's why I've put in here that they will run concurrently, and I put it in red. Because the last thing you want to do is give somebody 12 weeks off or whatever it is that they are, like under military leave, they can get up to 26 weeks, okay? And then take their vacation time. You want them to run concurrently, okay, at the same time. Well, what about the health benefits, other employee benefits, return to work requirements, okay? See, so you kind of see all this stuff tells them how we're going to operate the FMLA. Does it make sense? Okay, and I put this in bold because I've had so many employers trip on this one. If the circumstances of your leave change and you are able to return to work earlier, you'll be required to give us at least 2 work days prior that you intend to return to work. Okay, because I've had people recover early and they just show up. And the employer doesn't know what to do. You are allowed to have them wait or give you notice of a couple days. Okay, that is the reservation of rights that you're reserving for yourself that's going to work in tandem with your policy, and that they are eligible. Everybody got that? Doesn't mean they're going to take leave right now. It means that they are eligible.
Scott, I have a question for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Are they required to give you a return to work note before they come back?
Yeah, actually, let's go up here. That's a great question because additional notice eligibility and rights that I like to put in there maybe if I need it. Okay. But yes, that is something that you are allowed to do and you want to do that. And that's that employee return to work form right there. Okay. Because you don't want to buy a workers' comp claim. I mean, why would somebody come back early and then fall down the steps or jump down the steps or God knows what? Why would they do that? Because they're running out of money. I mean, let's say you've got somebody who genuinely did damage their knee. Okay, they damaged their knee, but they don't have much sick or vacation time, and let's say you don't have short-term disability. No, you get And I'll tell you, when somebody's missing 3 days or more, I want that. That means they were really sick. Something. I want an employee return to work form. Okay, 99% of the time. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's go up here. Handbook master, because we're going to tie the reservation of rights to our handbook. Okay, now that's in Word, so you cannot see it. All right, so we're going to stop our share. Oh my gosh, I'm getting pretty good with this mouse. I don't know about you, but I am awfully, awfully impressed with my wrist skills here. So okay, can everybody see Master Handbook there? Everybody getting that one? You see it? Okay, we're getting it? Okay, I'm getting some hands. All right, so we're going to go down here actually to about page 26. Oh, by the way, anything I put in here in green, notice all the green crap everywhere. Why? That's the National Labor Relations Act. That has completely disrupted everything we're doing. I mean, when it is illegal to say that you have to treat your supervisors with respect, oh my God, things are bad. Okay. And anything in red tells you I'm saying, hey, pay attention to this. This is important. Oh, and the NLRA thing, we're also going to look at why people join unions and what you can say about the unions, what's legal and illegal. Okay. Everybody with me? And everybody can see this as medical leave of absence. This is allowed. Everybody getting it? Very good. Okay. Wow, we're cooking with gas. Okay. Now, this is not FMLA. But I get folks clients who say, well, yeah, we would give somebody time off in their first year. Or we would give part-timers time off. Okay. All right. Well, then we better be ready for that because, see, this is granting non-FMLA leave of absence. Okay. So this is just something for you to look at. It's in there for you to edit, like who's eligible. We're still going to certify all the stuff like it was FMLA leave. How much can you get? It runs concurrently, all this stuff. Okay. So everybody with me? Because you got to think what's going to happen if somebody does miss in their first year or they're not FMLA eligible. Okay, I'm going to try to catch up with my chat here. Okay, you see here. It's a little tricky here, a little small, hard to read. It's probably easier to open your mic because I'm having trouble with the chat today. It's about trying not to have a chilling effect, shutting down dissent. Oh, in fairness, I think respect can be interpreted in different ways. Perhaps it's about not trying to okay, they're trying to help me here.
Trying not to have a chilling effect by shutting down any dissent in the workplace.
Oh, Phoenix, yeah. And honestly, as a reasonable person, that's what you're thinking. Okay, but if you put the word respect in there, that that we need to treat each other with respect, that's an unfair labor practice. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so but you see, I think we're on the same page here because to me, it's like, okay, I can disagree and I can stand up for my rights, but I don't have to call you names and treat you like dirt. And these cases are terrible, but there are ways that we have to, like we can put a savings clause in there. Okay, Phoenix, like we could say something like, we need to treat each other in a professional manner. However, this in no way is intended to infringe on any employee's rights to discuss the wages, terms, and conditions of employment. Okay, that might work, but as Sheila told us earlier, oh yeah, this is an adamant NLRB, and they're coming out with decisions that just blow my mind. But no, I fully respect what you're saying, and I agree. I think, even people who I disagree with and I think are just evil, you still treat them with respect. Okay, everybody with me? Very good. Good point. All right, so I just put some words of caution in here in red. Okay, who's covered? Okay, a couple choices for you to make there. General FMLA, you should all have this. You know, what covers you? Well, birth of a son or a child, or son or daughter, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff, that's standard language. You've been employed for at least 12 months. That's pretty standard. Okay, now just a little word of caution. Pre-scheduled appointments, like with attorneys to adopt a child, is covered. Okay, you can temporarily transfer. Now you kind of see what we're doing here and how this works in tandem with the eligibility and rights and responsibilities. Okay, now I would have assumed they've already gotten this and signed that they received it, but I'm reminding them, I can temporarily transfer you. You got to schedule your appointments if you can when you're not working. If you're going to take an extended leave, you got to give us 30 days notice. You see how that's a right we're reserving for ourselves, but you got to reserve these rights. How are FMLA leaves and holidays coordinated? Well, it explains to the employee in here. If you miss the entire week for FMLA, then that whole week is FMLA. But let's say that Friday is a holiday and you miss 2 days of FMLA that week. Then the holiday is counted as the holiday. Okay? And that's that coordination. They run concurrently. Okay, and here is your military provision, which I see left out of a lot of these things. You can receive up to 26 weeks of unpaid leave for military anything. Anything. I want to go spend time with my family. I need counseling, rest, and put it this way. You do not want to challenge this. You will lose. You will lose. When does that? Here's your certification of leave. Okay, got to get this into me in 15 days. We know it's more. Okay, all these call-offs under the FMLA. Okay, there you go. You've got to call off to your boss. You put whatever in there you want. It's up to you. Okay, but you do not want them calling off to the guard shack. Actually, I like them to call off to the supervisor directly and leave a voicemail with a number where they can reach you. Okay, you might get light duty. Okay, is it paid or unpaid? Well, FMLA is unpaid, but this could also be workers' comp. Oh, there you go. Everybody recognize this one? This is the thorn in your ear. This drives everybody crazy. This is what intermittent leave is all about. You want that in there, and you hope that they don't abuse that one. I recently had our handbook updated, and the employment lawyer reduced these details as she left, as she felt HR should walk through these thoughts. Oh, okay. So reduced all these details, and let me make sure I'm understanding here. You're supposed to verbally go over all this? Am I understanding that? Okay. Well, with all respect to another employment attorney, no. I want it documented. And I'll tell you right now, if it isn't written down, it didn't happen. Good Lord, no, no, no. And I'll tell you, this is all written in English. You can read, can't you? And if you can't read, then Angie, yeah, read through it with them. But no, no, no. I want something that if I have to go in front of Wage and Hour, and I can tell you right now, Wage and Hour is one of the most pro-employee divisions that you can imagine. And the FMLA is extremely pro-employee. I'll tell you right now, I think you're playing with fire. Oh, and also remind the people who run your organization and everything, the interesting thing about the FMLA and the Fair Labor Standards Act, which is what we're going to look at next, the personal liability. You have personal liability. And remember, I will tell you again on this FMLA stuff, if you give them a hard time unreasonably, like you got a supervisor who's just mad and they're going to make it difficult, but you still give it to them, you have interfered with the FMLA. Okay, you've interfered, you're going to lose. You don't want to go down. Let's see, there is a value to document and review it with the employee, but it must be written for reference because they won't remember. Oh, yes, absolutely. You are so right on that. Absolutely. Okay. Because honestly, this is complicated stuff, Sheila, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, I just figured out how to make my chat a little better here. Okay. You're so right. And I'll tell you right now, I go through this stuff and most HR people aren't aware of all this stuff. And so that means it's not in the policy. If you don't reserve these rights, some of these rights in your policy, you don't have them. Okay, now you see why I get on this bandwagon where I deal with a lot of associations. And let me just throw my hat out there. I mean, I'll tell you, community action folks, man, wonderful to deal with. Absolutely fantastic. Greg and Lori and everybody over there at the association, man, they are making strides. They are making sure that all of their members get this stuff and they know how to use it and they have the tools to make it work. My former chapter would not spit on you if you were on fire. Actually, the last meeting I was sitting, well, one of the meetings I was sitting at last year, I was looking around at everybody at my table. They were all sitting there. They were all sitting there on their phones because the speaker was so boring. And I'm like, I don't understand that stuff because this is nuts and bolts stuff right here. You have to have this. And if you don't, I think we call that getting fired. I mean, I can tell you right now, this is not, all this stuff is not in there. I call that malpractice because we will rely on this. Oh, and Angie, get that in a letter. Okay, I want that in a letter from your attorney that she advised you to do that for the malpractice hearing. Oh, yeah. All right, now, there you go. Okay, now, I'm really hard on folks because honestly, I expect attorneys to be competent, particularly employment attorneys. But I will tell you, now you see the difference here? The difference here is, man, I sat where you did. For 17 years, I did this stuff. So I know what it's like to sit there. Okay, so no, these are great, great points. Fantastic. I think it's wonderful. Other benefit plans. So what's happening there? Okay, notice of return to work. I want your notice when you're coming back. Okay, and that should be in your paperwork anyway. Now, here you go again. Okay, if you're coming home early, coming back early, I need at least 2 days notice. And look what's right next to it. I want that fit to return to work. No, 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 you are not going to, you're not going to go and get a workers' comp claim off me. Okay. And of course, there's something in here about, you know, the maximum when it expires, restoration to your position. Okay. Your seniority is protected, but you will get an equivalent job. ADA, you get the exact same job. Okay, now here's a big one, 20. Make sure this is in there. Make sure this is in there. Okay, failure to return to work. And it just drives me crazy. I've had problem children where somebody comes back and they miss the day they're supposed to be back. And they call them and say, where are you? What's going on? I'm like, really? You've got a problem child here that's driving you crazy, and they have just given you a golden coin. They've given you everything you need to get rid of them. You don't come to work, we will assume that you have resigned. No, this is an employment relationship. You absolutely positively have to be here at work because your leave has expired. You got to come back. You got to come back. Okay. Key employees. Oh, I got a message here to use this language. Yeah, all of this is going to be recorded for you, Yolanda. So if you're a Master Toolkit subscriber, you've already got it. If not, then yeah, you just kind of go through the video again, and I'm sort of paging through everything so you can see it. Okay. Working while on leave. No. No. Not without written permission. Okay, and here's the reason. How are your employees going to feel about working off the job? Okay, this person's working another job and everybody's covering for them. Now, you can't do this just for FMLA. You do it for all of leaves of absence. So if they're in their first year taking a leave of absence, because understand, leave of absence first year, broken knee or something, that's still ADA. Might not be FMLA, but it is ADA. So yeah, working on leave, no moonlighting. And then I've got that another place here. Retaliation, nothing. And this is something for you to make sure all your managers understand. You're not going to retaliate against anybody for taking FMLA leave. You're not going to do that. And you can't make their life miserable. That is interference. And what's that mean? It means you've already broken the law. That's what that means. Okie dokie. Questions about the policy? Goes on for a lot, doesn't it? Okay, yeah. Angie, this is for you in particular. It goes on for a long time, so it's a big CYA. Big cover your butt. Absolutely. And I will tell you right now, everybody, this is the hottest area of the law. Anybody here in the medical field? Any medical field people?
I am.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Guess what? What are doctors most afraid of? What are they afraid they're going to get sued for?
Liability for hurting somebody.
There you go. Patients. Oh, no. Malpractice, Lynn. Hey, Lynn, how you doing? Diane? Oh, no. It's your own people. Custer had to worry about the Indians. In today's, or the Native Americans. Today, oh, no. Custer's own people would shoot him. No, it's not the patients. Drives me nuts. The people who are most likely to sue you are your own employees. By far. Okay. So, no, this stuff, you got to train like an Olympic athlete to be an HR person today. The days of being a nice, fuzzy, feel-good person, I don't think that's ever been true. But I'll tell you right now, there is so much. I mean, honestly, when I started in 1983, sexual harassment was legal. Yeah. I could go grab somebody's butt if I wanted. Not that you would. You're still going to burn in hell, but you get the idea. We didn't have I-9 forms. There was no ADA. There was no FMLA. There was nothing hardly. Just Title VII, age, and pregnancy. That was it. I could not imagine starting into human resources now. Oh my God. Like down here. I mean, that book right there, that one, that's 900 freaking pages. It started off as 200. And every year it grows. Why? Because this is getting, look at all of this crap. This is 40 years of keeping all stuff together and the videos and everything. 40 years. And I will tell you right now, it still blows my mind. Legal update was 6 hours, and it's always 6 hours. So everybody with me? Oh no, that's why we're here. You kind of see where I got a burr in my saddle over associations and HR chapters who do not teach HR folks what they need. And if you tell them they're not doing it, they get mad at you. Sheila, what do you think about outsourcing leave of absence services? Oh, yeah. Let's hit that a little bit. A lot of companies outsource FMLA. Okay, the reason being is you don't have many choices to make. You just really don't. Okay, you can maybe transfer them to another position, offer them light duty, depending on what their restrictions are. If they turn it down, then they really shouldn't be entitled to pay from short-term disability, things like that. And if it's workers' comp, then they won't get the compensation from workers' comp. But I'll tell you right now, you don't have a lot to fight with. They get the 12 weeks. Here's the kicker, Sheila. Lynn is saying it seems they always err on the side of what is easy from an administrative perspective. Yeah, Lynn, that's one of the first things for everyone to think about is, first of all, they're not really as diligent as you would be.
No.
Yeah, they're really not. Okay. But the other thing too is if it is someone who is out for their own condition and it's halfway serious at all, it's also ADA. It's not the FMLA it's going to get you probably, Sheila. It's the ADA.
Yeah.
Oh, give me, honestly.
Hey,
If
Scott, my
yeah.
comment is really thanks for that. My comment is really referencing my experience with this, because what I've found is larger organizations that manage disability for other companies typically create more confusion with the
Yeah.
employee, because they hand it off to different people every time.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, the case manager has to get up to speed, and the case
Yeah.
managers aren't always good.
Yeah.
It's been my experience that it's a bit of a nightmare, and that companies probably feel, because this is such a tenuous area, it's better to let the quote unquote experts do it. But my experience has been
No.
they're anything but. So I just wanted to see your thoughts.
I'm with you. And I let the experts do it. FMLA is not that complicated. Come on, if you can do payroll, you can do FMLA. And if somebody doesn't, I had this once kid said, "Oh, I'm so afraid. I just put in charge of the FMLA. What do I do?" I said, "Well, it's easy. You sit down and listen to the 5-hour video. There you go. Questions? Give me a call. It's push button. If you do this, you get this time off. If this, you get now ADA. Oh no, you're in the big leagues now, man. Oh no." And no, there's not anything that complicated. And I will tell you, I've never run into these TPAs or outside services that are going to make that connection to ADA, but the liability still comes back to you. No. And honestly, the truth of the matter is, this is a good way to get a union. Let me say that again. This is a really good way to get a union, and probably rightfully so. You got someone who is injured. You got someone who has a health condition, a serious health condition. And just like you said, they get bounced around from person to person who really doesn't give a crap. And, I'm like, okay, if this person really was all that professional, why aren't they running an HR department somewhere? Now, I don't like it. And actually, it's kind of funny. I was talking to one company down in Cincinnati, and I suggested this, and they said, "Oh, well, you must not work with many big companies." And I said, "Well, my largest client has 75,000. I think that's pretty big. And I will tell you, the court cases are full of these types of things. Well, they didn't like hearing that, so they didn't use me anymore. And a friend of mine who works there said, "Oh yeah, they just got nailed and lost an ADA case." I know exactly how that happened. Okay. All right. Now, just additional rights. Anything else you want to clarify for people? Company will not pay your portion of the premiums. Okay. Because sometimes companies do, sometimes not. You will not be required to present fitness for duty. Okay. If you feel more comfortable using this, it's there for you. And here's a good one. I want you to contact me every so often. It is not an inconvenience to give a simple phone call. To keep them on the phone for 15 minutes is. Okay, so just to touch base, let me know how you're doing is okay. But that's why I put this in red. You want to be careful of this one. If the circumstances change, let us know. Okay, we need any thing else determined by the company, fill it in. So just a little form there for you to kind of take a look at to see if it matters. Okay, so again, there's a lot of push button things to worry about, but the big thing with the ADA is trying to determine, okay, I got to determine now your reasonable accommodations. Okay, now, real quick, now they're going to take leave. Got their eligibility notice up there. So they are eligible. Now, sometimes, most of the time, you send the designation notice with the eligibility and rights, but not always. Think of in the case of a pregnancy. Okay, I'm going to come in, or an elective surgery. I'm going to have a cyst removed, and I'm going to miss a week. Okay, great. Eligibility, here's your rights and responsibilities. And when it actually happens, here's the designation notice. Okay, so there's the date, and this is right from the government. What happened? This is very straightforward form. Just make sure you got it there handy. And this is going to show this is when your FMLA starts. Don't get caught that you did not start the clock when you had to. And you've got basically just a couple, 3 days. Okay. Incomplete certification. Did they get you what you need? Okay. Is second or third opinion? Are you going to request This is pretty straightforward stuff. It's only 2 pages, but you want to make sure that you got that thing fired up. And then the rest of these, they are very, very specific. And again, these are not edited. Okay, I put some stuff in here just like you saw before, but this is in case it's a family member. Yes, you are allowed to get information on the family member. Now expect to use the HIPAA form for that. But you see, you got 15 days to get this in here. If the employee is going to need time off to take care of their mom, their dad, their son, their daughter, their spouse, I need to know what it is. Okay? Yeah, that's what, Lynn, I understand people got to run. That's why we're going to post the video. Excellent. Okay. Same type of thing for military. Okay. Caregiver for a military veteran. So maybe you are the military veteran. Maybe you're the caregiver for a veteran. If you have some highly priced employees that you don't like, you'll use the key letter, key employee letter. I've never seen it used. Notice of termination. Let's look at that one just for fun. Okay. Termination of health insurance. You haven't paid, you've been back to work. You didn't pay your premiums. You're not in touch with us. You can make the premiums, actually, here we go. You can make the premiums cancel the health insurance going all the way back to when they started. Okay. That's why, it's nice if they are collecting sick or vacation time, you can still take it out. Okay. So, but one thing you do not want to do is you do not want to cancel their health insurance while they're on FMLA. Because as soon as they return, they have a right to start their health insurance back up again. So what you do is you contact the insurance carrier and discuss everything. Okay? And here I gave you, just for fun, a huge complying with the FMLA checklist. And there's everything. You just go through and check it off. Have I done that? Have I done that? Have I done that? There you go. And there's all the notices we talked about. You see, right here, this is something similar that everybody should have. And that's why we're going to take the time to go over it. So if you've got the Master HR Toolkit, you know where it is. If you don't, then you want to make sure you're downloading these forms. And I would advise editing them the way that I have so that you've got them ready to go. Okie doke. That is a lot of stuff. Okay.